All right, good morning, grade eights. What we're going to start with is the volume of a cylinder. And we're going to do a volume of a cylinder because, we've been doing circles, diameter and circumference and area of a circle. But we're also going to go back a little bit and look at volume of a triangular prism. And actually, we're going to look at volume of a rectangular prism as well. Rectangular prism. Cool. Now, the first part I want you to be aware of that volume of a cylinder and volume of a triangular prism and volume of rectangular prisms, they all use the same formula. And that is good for us because sometimes we make mistakes when we're changing between formulas. And I believe in the KISS method. And the KISS method is keep it simple, stupid. And I am not calling any of you stupid. I'm saying, why make it harder than it has to be? We will use one formula for all three of our three-dimensional shapes. Our cylinders, our triangular prisms, and our rectangular prisms will all use the same formula. That's good news. Now, the formula is right here. In order to calculate the volume of a three-dimensional shape, we take the area of the base and we multiply it by the height of the shape. Now, you might remember doing volume of another shape and go base times height, length times width times height. It's similar, but because some of our shapes are triangles and some are circles, we can't use that one. So we're just going to start with the area of the base times the height of the shape. That's pretty easy to start remembering. Once you do remember that, there is a trick, one small trick right here. The trick is that you got to know what the base is. In each of these shapes, the cylinder, the triangular prism, the rectangular prism, there's a whole bunch of shapes on there, but only one is truly considered the base on two of them. So on a cylinder, the base is always a circle. Now, you can use this circle here, you can use this circle here on the bottom, but there's only two. It's the circle on a cylinder. On a triangular prism, you might think, well, this Toblerone bar is sitting on the long rectangle part, but your formula won't work unless you make the triangle your base. So it's really important to know that the base right here is always the triangle. And lastly, on a rectangular prism like this Kleenex box, because they're all rectangles anyways, it doesn't matter which one you do as your base. So, to review, on a cylinder, the circle is your base. On a triangle prism, the triangle is your base. And on a rectangular prism, any rectangle is your base. All right, now that we know that, we'll show you how easy it is. Here I have a cylinder and I want to find out the volume. I start with my formula, area of the base times the height of the shape. We're going to do area of the base first. It's in the brackets. So, in order to do area of the base, I have to do area of a circle. I know that that is pi r squared, and I know that that is 3.14, and if I look to my drawing, my radius of the circle is 6. So that's 6 squared. Knowing that 6 squared is 36, now all I have to do is multiply those two numbers. And that brings me out to 113.04. Now that's just the area of the base. Now I have to multiply it by the height. And that height, if I look at my diagram, is 40. So this will be 113.04 times 40. Put that one together. And I arrive at a total of 452, oh no, sorry I don't, 4,521.6. I don't have my glasses on. This is in centimeters. And remember when we did perimeter, it was strictly the unit was centimeters. When we did area, it was centimeters squared. But when we do volume, this will now become centimeters cubed. The 3 superscript to the top of the centimeters means volume. So that's the answer to a volume question. Of course, to make my life easier and yours, you circle your final answer. All right, let's see how this differs from volume of a triangular prism. Well, here's my volume formula. It's the same as the last one we did. And I know that we are going to have to do area of the base first. I'm going to have to do area of a triangle. From our work, we know that base times height divided by 2 is the formula for a triangle, and then we're going to multiply by the height later. You could list all the numbers, but we won't. Anyhow, from this picture, not a great picture, we can see that all of the base of the triangle will be 3. The height is 2.8, and we're going to divide that by 2. Let me just figure this out. So this comes out to 4.2, but now I still have to multiply it by the height. I'm not done yet. The height of this Toblerone bar is 80. I multiply my 4.2 times 80, using my calculator here, because I can't do that one in my head at the moment, and I get 336 centimeters cubed. I found the area of the base, I multiplied it by the height. Remember with our last one, with rectangular prisms, you can choose any rectangle as your base. It doesn't matter. So you have to pick one of the rectangles. For the sake of argument, I am going to choose the rectangle that it is sitting on. The formula for area of a rectangle is length times width. And the part that it's sitting on is 30 times 90. 30 times 90 is 2700, 2700. That's just the area of the base, but remember I have to multiply that by the height of the shape. And if I was to use the base here that it's sitting on, the height that's left over is 20. So I will have to multiply that by 20. Two of those multiplied out together is 54,000 centimeters cubed. It means if this was the shape of the box, we could fit 54 little thousand of those centimeter cubes inside that box. I might have gone a little bit big with my measurements. I just eyeballed it and did what I thought might be the right measurement. So I want to quickly review. We'll go right back to the first page. When you're looking at this thing as a whole, remember that we are going to use the same formula for all of them. Makes life easier. Another important point to remember that the formula is the area of the base times the height of the shape. There is a trick. The trick is to know that for a cylinder, the base is the circle. For a triangular prism, it's always going to be the triangle as your base. And for a rectangle, it's always going to be whatever rectangle you want it to be. Take a quick look in case you've forgotten what those shapes look like since last year. This is our new material. These should be last year's grade 7 material. Anyhow, that's where we're going. It's not very difficult once you know your formula and know what the base of those shapes are. We'll practice it today. Nice job, guys.